What's up, Slender? How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. Although now that I am looking at the screen, why am I in the host position? I do not like this.
There we go.
Better, better.
As
Okay,
Zombie
we're
says, we are both late and gay. So,
well,
and
listen. Okay, that's
well, if there's evidence that's not true, because Bride of Slender is here, so at least there's chat evidence that you're not gay, but we are
she's an
late.
alibi.
She ain't got no alibi. I'm kidding. I think we're gonna have a fun show tonight. We've got some stuff that has not been run into the ground
Oh,
this
you,
week so
you want to
far.
know why we're gonna have a fun show tonight?
because you know what, I need to send an invite to Sporking because I really want to get him in here to talk about how awesome unions are at representing the best interest of employees.
Well, in addition to that, let's do a little story time. Okay,
Sure.
so
Story
my
time with Slender.
my oldest, he just turned 22 the other day, right? So he's a big fat stupid weeb, much like the rest of the people in this family. We're a bunch of weebs, but I think that's the reasoning. But he wanted to try sake, so we
Did
got
you
a
at
big
least
old
serve it?
bottle of sake, and
Did you
we may
serve it
have had a
warmed
few
up too?
shots of it earlier tonight. No, we
Did
did.
you?
It's supposed to be warm. I told him, I'm like, this is supposed to be warm. I can tell by the taste. This is supposed to be hot sake. He's like, yeah, but we don't have the thing to heat it up. I'm like, yes, we do. He's like, yeah, but it's full of spider webs. I'm like, then clean it. But we did have a few shots of sake
Oh, wait,
before I
yeah.
came on the
You
show
you
tonight.
didn't get completely freaked out by the idea of spiders being near something?
No, that sake will kill spiders.
For those of in the chat who don't know the deep lore on Slender, he is deathly afraid of the spiders.
I am
so,
a wee bit arachnophobic.
so
And by a wee bit, I mean I will fight pirates. I will kill terrorizers. I will deal with home intruders. I will handle the snakes because the wife can't stand them. But if there's a spider or any other kind of icky bug, she's got to handle those.
I like Bride of Slender. Facts.
Yep.
Just coming right in. Yeah.
I told her before we even started discussing the idea of bounding together eternally in marriage and whatnot. I was like, listen, I will not handle the bugs. You will handle the bugs, especially the spiders. She's like, I can deal with that if you can handle the snakes. And I was like, I got no problems with snakes. I will take care of the snakes.
All right. So no Dr. Jones issues there with the snakes,
No, nope.
but the but
I
a wolf
I
but
do
a
not
wolf
worry
spider is
about the
gonna shut you
snakes.
down.
A wolf spider has shut me down on more than one occasion. Those things are terrifying.
They can get big, especially around where we live. There is some special breeds of the wolf spider that can get pretty freaking big. Not
Yes,
like
I did not know this before I moved into the mountains of West Virginia, but apparently in this area they have what are called tiger wolf spiders.
that sounds like an attack helicopter for the military, right?
Yes,
What
yeah, yeah, like the fucking HK Tiger Hawk.
is like what are you flying, buddy? You in the Apache? No, I'm in the Tiger Wolf.
I'm in the tiger wolf spider. What the hell is that? I don't know. It's just a combination of the three scariest names we could come up with, and we jammed them all together and made a helicopter out of it.
That is about the military system.
Yeah.
So I
And
mean,
yes, Zombie Box Reviews, I did have a bad experience. I grew up in the backwoods of Illinois, a very small town. And when I was a very wee lad, I watched a wolf spider, probably as big as my hand, on the wall of my house. And next to the light, it was nighttime, but next to the light, there was a Luna moth like bouncing around by the light. And if you've seen Luna moths, they're about as big as your hand, too. And they're beautiful, gorgeous creatures. Uh, that wolf spider just sat there on the wall watching it. And when it drifted a little too close to that wall, the wolf spider ran over, snatched it out of the air, and proceeded to eat it. Not drain it, ate its wings, ate its body. There was nothing. I watched this for about 30 minutes, completely enraptured. There was nothing left of the Luna moth by the time that wolf spider finished. No dust, no crumbs, no nothing. It ate every last bit of that Luna moth.
With just the simple, appropriate yikes response from Zombie over
Yep.
here.
And that was it for me. I've been terrified of spiders ever since.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what do we got, Tina over here? A giant wolf spider was climbing up my sister's wedding dress, and I couldn't move to help her.
That seems like an ill omen.
I
don't know.
Now
Burn that dress.
Hold on, should we ask Tina? Did that marriage work out? Is that still a happily married couple, or was that an ill omen of things to come? I'm interested to hear about how that.
Or it could have just been like, hey, we got the worst case scenario out of the way on day one.
Yeah, that is the I've heard it both ways, right? That the worse the wedding, the better the marriage. Oh wait, here she goes. The marriage didn't make it past the first anniversary.
The wolf spider climbed up the dress and was like, "No, she's a Black Widow."
All right. So, for those listening,
this marriage is dead.
A giant spider climbing up the bride on the wedding day is an ill omen, and you should object to the marriage. So,
yeah, we have scientific proof.
Scientific proof, which is funny. We're all this talk about spiders because I went and saw Beekeeper, the new Jason Statham movie. And
by the new Jason Statham movie, do you mean another Jason Statham movie? Because it didn't look much different than any of the others to me.
It had a different like the concept was actually a little more solid.
Okay, okay.
A
little more solid than what, like Cranked or what was it? The Driver? Was the Driver the other one?
No, it was it wasn't the Driver. It was the Transporter.
The Transporter, Crank. I saw this Beekeeper stuff and I was like, okay, so it's another one of those. They are doing a Jason Statham movie.
Well, here's where it's interesting, right? Look at the critic and audience scores, right? Critics.
Well, interestingly, he has a beard this time, which definitely makes him about 10% more attractive. Not to lean into the gay thing, but
I was gonna say, are you trying to reinforce what Zombie had over here? Yeah.
No homo.
Yeah. Jason Statham playing well. Jason Statham. Yeah, that's
yep.
So the movie was written by Kurt Wimmer, and that name probably doesn't mean anything to you.
It means absolutely nothing to me.
He wrote Equilibrium.
Oh, well, I loved Equilibrium. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he wrote and directed that.
Nice.
He also wrote Law Abiding Citizen.
Why didn't I get invited to come see this then? Like, what the hell?
Because the movie started at like 7:20.
Oh yeah, you're not going to get me that early. I got too much work.
Exactly. And I have to drive. I have to treat Slender like a little date over there. I have to go pick him up and drive him to the theater.
I can't leave the family without a vehicle.
Oh wait, here we go. We got more from the wedding story. At the wedding reception, those of us who were her college friends all joked my sister would have better taste in men after her first divorce. So
most people do.
So there's that thing where you can say that somebody spoke something into existence. So, oh wait, Zombie over. He looks like Scott in that picture of Scott was a hunk. I see it. I do see it.
Oh, so when Zombie made that comment earlier, he was projecting.
Yep. So Kurt Wimmer's the writer of the movie, and the director is David Ayer, right? David Ayer did Fury. He did the first Suicide Squad movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's got a pedigree of people like that are very talented. The cast,
it's got a decent director and writer, definitely.
I'm actually really surprised at the cast. Like Jeremy Irons was in it. You got Josh Hutcherson is in it. I mean,
so is it bringing back the Kick-Ass action movie, or is it just another action movie?
No, I mean the action was solid. It was Equilibrium style action. Like
I really did
he's
like Equilibrium style action too.
yeah, I mean, and so watching this movie made me think, I don't, you probably never listened to the audio commentary like on Equilibrium. I'm sure that it's not something you did.
I don't really listen to audio commentary on movies in
All right,
general.
all
I
right.
just watch the movie and then move on about my
So,
business.
if you watch the audio commentary on Equilibrium, when it gets to that scene when Christian Bale's storming the headquarters after the lie detector goes dead,
True. Okay,
so
I've
Kurt,
addressed the comment. Moving on.
yeah. So when Kurt Wimmer was doing the commentary, he was like, there's a lot of people who will, when they're doing modern, because this was around 2003 that the movie came out, and so he's talking about modern action movies. So when he's talking about like the Jason Bourne movies at the time, the modern-y kind of way they were
Mm-hmm.
doing it then, he was saying, there's a lot of people who are going to have their lead hero just get beat up. Just, beat up, beat up, beat up, and at the very end just pull out the win. He's like, no, I take a different tact. I want my guy to just be better. My hero is going to be better than everyone, and he's going to take you all out. And you can see that in Equilibrium, right? That's how it goes. Because he says when he gets to the part where he fights Tay Diggs and he gets him in like two swipes with the sword, he's talking. He goes, earlier in the movie we had it where they were fighting and they were fairly evenly matched. He goes, what's happening is at the time Christian Bale's character was just getting emotions, and so he didn't know how to handle himself. So that's what was overwhelming him. And by now, at this end point in the movie, he knows how to turn it off and turn it on when he's in his action zone. So he's like, Tay Diggs' character had no chance. He was never on the same level. He just thought he was.
Okay, I gotta address this comment in chat. Bride of Slender, I swear I have explained this to you on numerous occasions, but Jason Statham, Ryan Reynolds, Brad Pitt, they all probably could pull it off if I'm honest.
You've got a rather extensive list of the I'll go gay for. Just,
Three, three is extensive.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Just
you clearly just haven't thought about your options.
well, I mean, I'll have to bring it up with the bride of Chad to see where I come down on that question. That's an interesting conversation. Did that come up over the sake? Oh wait,
No,
it's
no, we
probably the Cockney accent that sells it. Talking about Statham. Oh, what is Mr. Bojan has a different list, but it does include Ryan Reynolds.
see,
Is that her
see.
free pass? No, I think she's talking about her free pass list. Tina, you can just put a number one in chat if it's actually your like hall pass list that you're talking about. But the movie was pretty solid. It was good. The concept, I mean, they sell it a little bit, but the way it is the Beekeeper program is a super off the books, government program
Yeah,
that's
they're like triple secret agent types.
well, apparently they answer to nobody. Their entire, I guess, reason for being is to protect the system that is the United States.
Okay, so they're like G14 classified,
Yeah, so like even
like part of the Swordfish program.
yeah. Oh wait, nope. He would go Gain or Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, or is Henry Cavill like his cousin?
I'm assuming it's Henry Cavill. Maybe there's some.
The
Maybe
Ambien's
she
starting
already took
early
her
today.
medicine.
Yeah, the Ambien's in early today. Yeah, so Jeremy Irons in the movie plays a former CIA director, and I swear they were channeling the first John Wick a couple times because there's a part where one of the characters is telling him it was just some dude. He was said he was a beekeeper and just talked about protecting the hive, and he's like, "Well, then you just need to make peace because you're dead." he's like, he's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like if a beekeeper is going to kill you, he's going to kill you, and you're just gonna. That's just how it's gonna be.
There's really no way around it.
Yeah, that these guys are the most elite things. there's a part where he's giving a briefing to like Delta Force and SEAL operators, and he's like, "I'm bringing you all here because you need to understand." The one of the guys was like, "Oh, I guess we'll be able to kill him." He's like, "No, he'd kill any one of you in a matter of seconds. My hope is that by having enough of you, you may be able to take him out." I mean, so they do a good job in the movie. I love when movies do this, right? You actually establish how great the hero is, and then you let him be that way. It's I think it's a Kurt Wimmer thing, because he did the same thing. If you watched Law Abiding Citizen,
Hmm.
there was the part where the guy gives the backstory for Garrett Butler's character, where he goes, "When we needed to kill somebody, this is the man we would bring in to figure out how to do it." Because
Well,
it was
and getting into the the structure of a story element a little more, uh, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have your hero be unbelievably powerful, but on the flip of that, and this is kind of one of the issues I've run into with some of the Statham movies. On the flip of that coin, if that is the case, there have to be other opportunities for character growth. Now, Crank, for example, I saw no character growth from start to finish. He was the same character, which I didn't like. But another movie you mentioned very specifically, and we saw this growth, Equilibrium. Christian Bale's character had a lot of character growth in Equilibrium, and the whole reason, they were kind of going toe to toe during practice, but then at the end, he beat the guy literally with a parry counter, and then the dude was dead, was because he had now not only learned what emotions feel like, but he realized that you could channel those emotions to greater achievement. Like the whole idea that emotions were limiting humans and making them weaker, like the whole moral of, like the whole lesson of Equilibrium is that no, 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 your emotions can drive you to levels of greatness that being emotionless just cannot accomplish.
yeah, and
So
I do like, so the movie does have it sets up that he's retired. He
mhm.
just he's moved on from being the active beekeeper. He's just living peaceful life on a farm that where he rents like part of the farm to raise his bees from a nice old woman.
So he's
And
doing apiaries. Nice, nice.
yes, of course, he's actually raising the bees and making honey and everything. And this nice woman who actually takes care of him and is a sweet old lady gets wronged and then commits suicide. I'm not saying anything that isn't even in the trailer, so I'm not worried about that. And that sets him off his path where he's like he's going to take out the people who did wrong, because the way they set it up is beekeepers, they're completely outside of the system, and the only thing they get to decide who their targets are completely on their own. Whatever
They're
is just,
completely independent operatives.
yes,
They don't
yep,
answer to anyone. They make their own fucking decisions.
correct. That their only
Nice.
obligation is to do right by the system and to take out people who are threats to the system.
Mhm.
And in his case, the system, and this is something that's kind of fun with the concept of the bee hive. The system isn't just protecting elites. It's like there's worker bees, right? There's everybody up and down the hive has roles, and if you don't protect every stage of the hive fails. They make a point that there's even bees that are what are called queen killers. That if the queen is not producing the right kind of bees for the hive, if the elites are failing, they are they will go and kill the queen and elevate a new queen to take
Oh
over.
man, we could use some of those right now, couldn't we?
Yeah, so yeah, zombie, it's a really cool concept. Hey, emperors, black market honey. Yeah. Honey, like legit, there are super health benefits for local made honey, by the way. If you have any kind of allergies, start eating honey made with local wildflowers, and it will actually reduce your allergies a lot.
This
Just
is
that's
very
something
true.
I've started doing, and my seasonal allergies have gone down a ton once I started doing that. But obviously that sets him up on the path to be Jason Statham and to be the badass, that he's been in movies for a long time.
To be Jason Statham
To be
and do
Jason
Jason
Statham.
Statham things.
But there, I mean, There is, I mean, this movie pulls no punches, and it's not woke at all because there's one part where he's supposed to be fighting like a girl boss, and it does not end well for the girl boss in any way. Like it's fairly quick, as it should be.
Okay.
Like they're not making that mistake where they let her go very long. So it's
Well, I think a lot of people in Hollywood at this point are starting to realize that shit, that dog won't hunt, that boat won't float, those things aren't working. Now, you've got your holdouts like Disney who they will go down with the ship, I guess.
I can tell from our sudden influx in viewers that I think Culture Casino probably just wrapped up his show. So, hello to the Culture Raid as you guys are all coming in. We just been talking
Hello
about
and welcome, my friends.
we've been talking about the Beekeeper, which is I'm gonna give it a solid action movie recommend. It's not if you don't want to go see it in a theater, it'll be fine to watch on streaming. Yep. Hey, Culture Raid, as we said. Welcome to the party. Yeah, so I don't think you need to go see it in a theater, but if you enjoyed Law Abiding Citizen or Equilibrium, this movie definitely Kurt Wimmer as a writer seems to have a pattern where he's creating men against the system to protect the system from its failings. Equilibrium, Law Abiding Citizen, now Beekeeper, they all seem to have a theme in that way, and I enjoy that theme. I actually like my action movies in it's nice to see something like that. And so it was a good movie. I think it was solid.
Hmm. Yeah, sounds pretty good. I'll probably have to see it when it comes to streaming.
Yeah, I don't know it's a which studio makes it. Let me see. It is oh, IMDb doesn't tell you the story. I mean the studio. Whatever. Because the studio would, if it was like a Sony movie, I think those go to Netflix. Obviously, Paramount and and Universal all have their own streaming services. They'll go there. Let's see. So, would he make a good director writer for a Punisher movie? 100%. If you haven't seen Law Abiding Citizen, that really is a Punisher movie.
Dude, if you got him and Thomas Jane to work a Punisher project together, it could be something amazing.
I would love to see that. And David
Because
Ayer,
I am still in I am firmly in the Thomas Jane camp for Punisher. I liked him as the Punisher.
well, what was nice about Thomas Jane as the Punisher is he wasn't overly like the other people they've gotten to play Punisher. In the first one in the 80s, it was Dolph Lundgren.
Hmm.
And then when they had, after Thomas Jane left and they redid it, it was Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, I don't
He
know.
was just too, he's just too big. Like, and I know that
He
some
was too
guys,
big and he didn't have a whole lot of personality as far as I'm concerned. Like,
and I kind of liked the way they started with the Punisher on the Daredevil show when it was, what's his name? The guy from Walking Dead.
okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
John
Yeah.
Barenthal. That's who I'm thinking of. But they kind of ruined him. But once he got his own series, they screwed up what the Punisher was, and it wasn't so great. And that's a complete misrepresentation of beekeepers. My grandpa was never violent. He was a chill geezer that liked him. Yeah, I don't think they're going for the fact that beekeepers, every person who has an apiary, is a super trained government assassin. But
Yes, I believe the beekeeper terminology was
yeah,
more of a metaphor than a
yep,
literal thing.
yeah. But I mean, he does. But they did make a point that he did keep bees. Like he was committed to the bit. So it's a thing. It was just a different. It was a good setup for the action. It wasn't the normal like Jason Statham kind of movie. It gave him a little more to work with, and it suited his character to be kind of stoic, but you could see that he was genuinely wrong. Like he felt the loss of this woman who took care of him because she was a nice he was like, she's a nice person. She shouldn't have had this happen to her. I'm going to right this wrong.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
was like John Wick's dog.
Yes. I mean, a human version, but yeah, exactly.
They dogged her. That's gonna be the new term. Used to be fridged, now it's dogged.
And they 100% pulled the John Wick stuff because every time somebody who knew about it heard that he was a beekeeper, you could see their face just like drop and be like, "You're fucked. You're just, yeah, just deal with it. You're done." And so it was good. They even had a couple hallway fights where,
What is
that's
this
the
guy, the
thing.
boogeyman? No, he is the one you called to kill the fucking boogeyman.
That was the best part of John Wick. Was the first movie for me was when he was on the phone with John Leguizamo, and he was like, "You struck my son," and then he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I did. He stole John Wick's car," and then the dad was just like, "Oh, okay."
Was that the first one or the second one?
That
I
was
think
the
that's the
first
second
one.
one.
No, that's the first one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know when he made that speech about John Wick being the Baba Yaga, it's my favorite part of any of the John Wick films.
yeah. So I got RJ over here. I still love Dolphin Stevenson's Punisher, and John Barenthal was pretty good. Jane is my least favorite Punisher, but there were some great moments in the Russian fight and the best trailer lines. So if you go and watch, it's on YouTube called Dirty
Laundry
Laundry
Day.
or Laundry Day or whatever. It's
Watch
a
Laundry Day.
yeah. That was what could have been for the
Yeah,
Thomas
because
Jane
Thomas
version.
Jane, he was acting as directed. They wanted to keep that movie. I think it was PG-13. They
Yeah,
didn't
if
want an R rating.
there is an R
That's what
rating.
killed the Thomas Jane Punisher. But if he could get an R rating, watch Laundry Day. If he could be that Punisher,
but Slender, there's also an R-rated cut of his Punisher, and
okay,
it's better. And you can get, I think it's on the Plex server,
like a director's cut.
Yeah, that has
Okay,
that
because the
goes.
last time I watched a director's cut that you gave me, I was extremely upset with it.
I had told you not to watch that one.
You didn't tell me not to watch that one. You just
told
told me that you had Payback on your server and I could watch it.
If you remember when we talked about it, I was like, "Oh yeah, the whole last act is completely different. You don't want to watch that one."
It was so bad, so bad.
Payback is another great movie with an anti-hero that you can just enjoy. So the theatrical version of Payback, that's the one you want to get.
Yeah. Can you imagine though, like that? If it was like this year, or let's say it was 2023, right? And Payback was coming out, we would not have got the theatrical version that we did. But that Payback had some editor somewhere who that came to his desk and he was like, no, we're doing reshoots because nobody's going to like this.
You know what would have happened in 1998 if somebody had come to a studio exec and tried to get them to do the action movies the way like they want to do with the MCU and all that stuff. You know what that producer would have said to him?
Shut it!
They would have told him to get the fuck out. We're not doing that shit.
Put a chick in it. Make her lame and gay.
But it's a good movie. I just Payback 1995. No, that movie Payback was like 1998, but you're in the right era. I know for a fact because I was working at the theater by the time it came out, and I didn't start there until 1997.
Well, and that's the thing, Bonehead. If you look at the director's cut of Payback 1995, that statement is completely untrue. It's a movie where all men are mobsters and all women are in charge of the mob.
Which is what studio executives should be doing, right? Where they go, no.
I shit you not. In the director's cut, when he says, you go high enough, you get to one guy. Who is he? And the guy he was talking to was like, she, actually. And then he called the boss. That was in the director's cut. I swear, like that movie, the director's cut was ahead of its time. That movie would have definitely been it would have went to production.
Oh, let's see. RJ says, I've seen Laundry Day and it is good, and the extended cut of Jane's Punisher film is so much better. I highly recommend it. I still like Jane just because he's my least favorite. Don't mean I dislike him. Yeah, that's a fair point. You can
Okay,
have it's like Bonds,
I'm cool
right?
with that.
You know, your least favorite James Bond is, in my case, it's Daniel Craig. He started strong with Casino Royale and then ended badly.
I
It's
never
still
liked Daniel Craig because I never liked the idea of a tortured, gritty James Bond. I like the James Bond that's confident and has the sex appeal. Like I still like Pierce Brosnan. That's my go-to James Bond. And kind of tied with Sean Connery just because Sean Connery had that swagger, you know. But
well,
I was a little too
yeah.
young for the Sean Connery era. I didn't see as many of his.
Pierce Brosnan for me is still like the number one.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's kind of my go-to.
what's up,
Culture.
Culture?
Hey, good
How
evening,
you
Jim.
doing?
I'm fantastic. I went a little longer than I'd planned because Pro's a little chatty. So, but
Yeah, I know. I noticed that he started interviewing you a few times on your
it was
show.
fun. It was good.
It was a great back and forth. Your show is always great on Fridays.
He's a consummate professional and just well informed on so many different things. So easy to hang out with. So
I know.
But Howard,
That's
what are
good.
you guys chatting about? I interviewed a conversation. I apologize.
Oh
Or
no, we
inter-
were
inter-
we
inter-
started with my review of Beekeeper
interrupted.
because I went and saw that yesterday, which is pretty good.
What did you
pretty
see?
good. Beekeeper, the one with Jason Statham.
Oh yeah, I hear it's great.
It actually is. It's
Hmm.
because I was going into the I didn't realize until I was watching the opening credits that Kurt Wimmer was the writer.
Wow.
You know, he's the writer director of Equilibrium,
Yeah.
writer of Law Abiding Citizen. He's written some of my favorite action movies of the last 25 years. So I'm a big
Definitely.
fan. Although Ultraviolet sucked, so he has done some bad ones.
I don't expect any director to come out and bat 1,000. You know, like every director puts out at least a couple shitty movies. Even Spielberg put out a couple shitty movies.
Yeah, we talked about one briefly. AI is garbage. So,
Yeah, AI. What I like about AI is that after that one, he decided to do Minority Report to try to still like, hey, I can do a future movie people will like, and I love Minority Report.
I enjoyed it.
You know what the best part of Minority Report is? Because it's a really it's a sets up the moral question at the end of the movie when it has like the end tag where it's like the program got discontinued, and in Washington D.C. the next year there were 300 murders. It was like you know
I think
like
the reason I liked my favorite part of that movie was when he's like, "What do you want your eyes? Are you sentimental or something?" And he's like, "Because my mother gave them to me." That was my favorite part of Minority Report.
I thought that was a fine film. I mean, you know, one of the best movie stars ever is in it. So.
we've talked before. Tom Cruise has some things that happened in his personal life that were very public and over the last 25 years. And there were times when I just really didn't want to like him. But damned if he doesn't always make movies that I seem to enjoy. It's just ridiculous. I can't think of a bad Tom Cruise movie.
Hmm.
I'm trying
He
to
wasn't the
think.
best reacher.
No, but even the sequel, I still like the first one. The second one that was when the second one got girl bossed up with
Oh yeah.
with what's her name from How I Met Your Mother, Maria Hill.
Now I got to go
Avengers
look at his
movie.
filmography because Oh, what about The Mummy?
In hindsight, it's not as bad as it was when it came out because it's weird to say.
Colby Smulders is the
that's right, Colby
actor.
Smulders. Let's see, stop screen present because I actually the Mummy over here. The
War of the Worlds was pretty bad.
You didn't like War of the Worlds?
It wasn't great.
All right, we've got, so this is the recent history. The Mission Impossible movie is good. American Made, underrated. I really enjoyed that one. The Mummy and Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Those were kind of weak. Edge of Tomorrow was
Yeah.
great. I actually love Oblivion. Oblivion is one of my I think that one's actually really underrated.
Which one's Oblivion?
That's the one where he's on the Earth and he's the drone repair guy, and he doesn't know that he's a clone of a
Oh,
astronaut.
I didn't like that movie.
You didn't like the movie?
No, because it was one of those movies that's supposed to be like, a mind fuck, if you will.
I gotta disagree.
But by
with
the
Shadow
time I
Chaser.
realized that they were fucking my mind, I wasn't feeling violated anymore.
Edge of
Like, I
Tomorrow,
got used to the mind fuck before I realized that my mind was being fucked.
Yeah, so Edge of Tomorrow was good. I liked Edge of Tomorrow. It was a Groundhog Day sci-fi action movie. I mean, Tom Cruise had a lot of charisma. You could see his character growth throughout it. It was a good movie. Yeah,
I
you're
liked
allowed
Edge
to
of
like what you
Tomorrow,
want.
but I liked Edge of Tomorrow because I had a lot of fun watching it. Like, do I think it was a great story? Definitely not. There were some
Okay.
real issues with the story, but the movie was a blast, and I can watch it over and over and over just because the action's so fun.
All right, I found the one that I don't. Rock of Ages. There we go. He was playing effectively just like the prototype hairband rock singer of the 80s in this movie. It was a musical.
Ugh.
I thought it was fine, but some people didn't like it. How about a piece of trivia you guys didn't know?
What's that?
Or actually, I'll just ask you the question.
Okay.
How? And you can't look it up. You have 10 seconds to answer. How many Oscars does Tom Cruise have?
He has 0.
I'm going to go with 2.
He has 0 Oscars. He's been nominated 4 times.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I figured Lil Chad was right because Lil Chad knows this kind of shit, but I didn't want to give the same answer. Just like go with what he said.
He's been nominated. He was nominated for Rain Man, I think, as Best Supporting Actor. Born on the 4th of July. He was. What are the other nominations?
Did he get nominated for Interview with a Vampire? Because he was really good in that too.
No, Interview with the Vampire was not an Oscar movie.
I thought it was. I enjoyed that movie.
Well, I mean, his best picture was just a few years ago. It was Top Gun Maverick. So, but every time he's been nominated, he's been beat out by some other piece of shit.
I think he did Magnolia for the express reason of trying to get an Oscar.
Yeah,
he didn't get an Oscar for what was it, Jerry Maguire?
Nope. Although, yeah, he was nominated for that. I forgot that was. So in the 90s, they would still nominate, legit popular actors for Oscars before. This is another thing where I know that people have been talking about Miramax in the context of Harvey Weinstein and his assistant who's now making Star Wars content. But Miramax is one of the studios most responsible for destroying Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because they pushed these independent movies to get Oscars to be the only thing that was winning, and that pushed the Hollywood people into thinking those movies should be what they make as a studio. It's terrible.
Yeah, I guess that didn't work out so well, huh?
Well,
no, in 1998 when Shakespeare in Love beat Saving Private Ryan for Best Picture, Jesus. Like, it's terrible. And that was Miramax made that happen.
I just can't believe how many times he's been up and he's been beat by some other piece of shit. It was like, the fuck, man?
he's gonna get the and it's probably coming in the next 5 to 10 years. He'll get the John Wayne Best Supporting Actor Oscar for some role that he'll do. Top Gun Maverick should have been that. He should have got nominated for Best Supporting Actor and won it. It would have been perfect. So Best Supporting Actor is the traditional Oscar you give to someone as a Lifetime Achievement Award, but don't call it that. Yeah, and as Shadow Chase says, Tom Cruise does take the craft serious. I don't blame him. That rant that leaked from the set when they were filming Mission Impossible during the COVID restrictions, where he was going nuts on the set. He makes those movies. He employs all those people as the producer on those movies. One person screwing around, you got to remember the governments at the time were looking for excuses to shut down these things. The reason Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning cost $300 million is because it had to keep shutting down and restarting production, and it added hundreds of millions of dollars to that budget. It was not
It's a problem with the younger generation. It's like, oh, people got angry because you put this whole fucking project in jeopardy. Like, when did it become something shameful to give a shit about the work you're doing? Like, when did that become oh, he cares too much? Fuck you. Like,
well, there's a guy who cares a lot right now, and that's Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, Ryan Reynolds is definitely well, I mean, we have to consider the source. You did call me on my source, but apparently he's been having lots of fights with Disney lately.
Well, first I'm going to share the legitimate news story, and then we'll get to your super trustworthy source.
Yeah, super trustworthy.
What I'm getting at here.
Can we get some Toad?
For this, yeah. So we've got Ryan Reynolds has been fighting to try to get internet sleuths to stop posting pictures of the movie and leaks about the script. He wants people to actually go in and enjoy, because by all accounts, they're trying to make this movie a super Easter egg filled send off for the Fox X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not, and people aren't letting him keep anything quiet, right? So Ryan Reynolds is actually going out and begging people online to stop spoiling the movie. It's not working. And just this week, they released some test art of the Wolverine mask that Hugh Jackman is going to be wearing. So the stuff's still coming out now. To Slender's super secret source, that's not so secret.
It's not, and it's not a great source, but it's interesting to me nonetheless.
So Slender comes to me and he's like, I watched this video and it's got this story, and I was like, let me see the link, and I was like, it's a Mike Zero video.
Which I'm aware of, but like, I've been seeing a lot of chatter about how Ryan Reynolds is apparently like really butting heads with leadership over at Disney, and how apparently they wanted to, and correct me if somebody knows more information about this than I do, but apparently they really wanted to push Phase 7 in the third act of this new Deadpool movie, and do a whole bunch of cameos of the all-female cast for the upcoming X-Men movie, and Ryan Reynolds did not want any of this in his movie.
We talk on this corner of the internet about taking sources with a grain of salt. Anytime I see a Mike Zero story, you need a whole Costco industrial level thing of salt. But that being said, I look at culture, Jesus.
Oh boy! Oh whoa! Whoa.
I just want to say thanks for your kind attention today. And, a lot of people have been talking about Star Wars, but I want to focus today on Marvel, because Deadpool 3 is supposedly a disaster. And it looks like Ryan Reynolds is trying to do his level best to make this a good movie. So people have been fired, and people are being told that they can't do certain things. And there are going to be so many Easter eggs coming out here, and yeah, we don't know what exactly is going to happen with this film.
Oh god! Now we just got to get Doomcock in here. We've got the full gamut.
I'll say this though, for Doomcock, that last interview with what's his name, the director, Mangold, basically confirmed everything he had leaked to him on the Indiana Jones story. So he was 100% vindicated and right on that one. So I don't think Mike Zero has ever been 100% proven right. I mean, obviously the gold standard is somebody who Culture audited a few weeks ago. I was watching those videos when you were auditing WDW Pro. What was his scoop record? Was like 93% accuracy.
Yeah. We'll say 92, but yeah.
92. Yes, Culture looks different. You know what? I more power to Mike Zero. He's got more subs than I'll probably ever touch. Good for him.
Mike Zero, yeah, he's doing great. Good for him.
People like his content. I'm good. You know, I think he's in on the bit.
Well, and that's part of the whole draw, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I don't know that I believe these stories, but I see those titles and I'm like, oh, I gotta hear this. You know?
Well, what if I told you I religiously watch Mike Zero?
Yeah.
I would say
I'm kind of in the same boat. Because when I see those titles, I'm like, I gotta know what this is about. I don't believe it, but I gotta hear this.
Vertical Horizons is correct. Mike Zero does know all. He's come from the future to tell us. I remember when he came with the future Star Wars content.
So apparently in the future, backwards hats come back, huh?
Backwards hats never left, man. They never left.
All I know is that he found a thumb drive in a parking lot at Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
12 years in the future. So he knows everything.
All of it. He could have warned us about he should have warned us about Ahsoka. That's all I need to say. By the way, Culture, on Beach Punk, do you guys have the hats that are the one size fits all that are stretchy, that don't have like clips and don't have the Velcro?
Yeah, this is a stretch fit, and it comes in two sizes. You have the small, medium, and the large, extra large. I think, yeah, stretch fit.
Perfect. Those are
we got hats for normal size heads and hats for fat heads.
Have been the greatest innovation in baseball caps.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because everybody was like, I remember growing
up. And before anyone thinks I'm being insulting, I wear hats for fat heads.
I believe that.
Because of my huge brain.
I don't believe that.
It's very smooth, but it's big.
Culture Casino is what Michael Moore wished he looked like in his heydays. Was Roger and Me was probably his peak, right? When in the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, no, I mean, I think he was referring to the Bowling for Columbine guy, and now I'm really sad.
Well, no, Roger and Me was the first movie he made that got him on the map. It was where he was chasing down, I think it was the CEO of GM at the time, about closing a plant in Michigan.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, but
you know what's funny is I don't show my face to protect my anonymity, but ever since Culture Casino donated his hair, you still got me beat on the beard, but I've got you beat on the hair now.
It's okay. I'll catch you in about a year.
You probably will. Mine. I've got that that French heritage, so mine all curls up. And it once it hits the shoulders, it doesn't keep growing down. It starts just going in every other direction.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I have at least 3 or 4 hairs per follicle in my head. And that also
you bastards. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now wait till you've got a couple follicles in your ears.
Oh, I do. Are you kidding? I'm constantly culling the forest that is my ear. Wild.
For me, it's the eyebrows. I've got like 2 or 3, just 2 or 3 hairs in the eyebrow that get longer than the rest.
You have Doc Brown eyebrows, is what you've got. Yes. Back to the Future. Yeah.
My son is now old enough where he just asked me to start like, can we watch Back to the Future? And I'm like, of course. Yes, we can watch Back to the Future. You're not going to get the jokes that are inappropriate for your age, so it's fine because they were well written to be over your head. So yeah, we'll watch Back to the Future. But Culture, this is actually, I'm glad you're here because this is going to be a fun story to have your opinion on. You've probably seen the deal that SAG-AFTRA struck, which I wish. I don't know if you were there or saw, but months back during the actor strike, Slender and myself got into a big argument with Sporking because he was very staunchly defending.
He was diehard union on that one.
He was going to the mat that unions protect people and they're good for. And Slender and I were pointing out that unions in the 21st century and for most of the late 20th century didn't do much to actually protect their membership. It was about protecting.
No, and
their
this
is about
strike
power.
very specifically, this strike very specifically was not the result of a union trying to protect its people. It was the result of a corporatized entity trying to leverage its own power against another corporate entity.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is borne out in the fact that one of the union's demands was a percentage of the streaming subscription money to be paid to the union, not the actors.
Not the actors.
To be paid to the union to do with as the union saw fit.
Yeah, and they never even made any qualms about that. They were like, no, we're going to take that money and do with it what we see fit. They never said it was going to their actors. They never even implied it would.
You want to hear something weird? They may have just risked their charter by doing that.
Good.
Yeah, by making the deal right that they just did with this one, because they did not give any of their membership any notice of the deal, any commentary on the deal. They just signed the deal, which especially is I know that the voice actors have already authorized a strike if needed. That hasn't gone into anything yet, but this is crazy. All right, what do we got, Tina? Tina says, I feel the need to support unions for jobs with serious safety concerns in Scott's defense. Tina,
there are certain jobs where I believe unions do serve a valuable purpose, but I am not a true blue diehard union kind of guy. If those unions fail to serve that purpose, they immediately lose my support. A great example, police unions. I feel like certain police unions have been failing to serve their intended purpose of late. And at that point, it's like, then if you are not serving your purpose, then you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're done here. You're canceled.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because there is government action that can be taken in those situations.
Yep. Yeah, it's the National Labor Relations Board is the NLRB.
Yep.
There's a couple organizations within the government that end up screwing things up for most
For
of
everybody.
the places that everybody works. One is called OSHA, and the other is the NLRB, because the NLRB is capable of creating case law decisions that end up effectively becoming legal laws for how businesses have to operate. If anybody's ever worked in that kind of environment, you'll know you will get memos. I know I do in my capacity and what I do about bulletins when an NLRB decision comes down. It can impact how you calculate overtime. It can impact like what persons are eligible for overtime. All sorts of fun stuff with NLRB.
Bonehead, I don't need no weave. Donating hair. I don't need no weave.
Bonehead, I donated a foot of my hair just a few weeks ago. So I hear you.
Yeah. So what I think what culture was getting at is the fact that right now this deal was struck with an artificial intelligence company on Tuesday to allow the use of digital replicas of voice actors, but they did it without consulting their membership. And the membership.
Well, and the great thing is, can't they broker these deals with very little on the part of, like, all the voice actor has to do is give their consent, and then the deal is essentially brokered. And from there, the voice actor will get residuals on the use of their voice, but that's after the
well, they're not going to get
SAG-AFTRA gets their cut.
Yeah, they're not going to get the work. And look, I'm telling you right now, that Fran Drescher is a cunt. I don't usually say that word, and should not have been leading any of this, especially in voice acting. She has a terrible voice. She's never done voice acting.
I mean, Laura
she's
Ingalls,
kind of a terrible person from what I've been seeing.
I just love the idea that in the Screen Act that the SAG-AFTRA union was led by Laura Ingalls until she got replaced by the nanny.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, and Laura Ingalls was Melissa Gilbert, who is the one who was leading the opposition charge to Fran Drescher's stuff. And what I think these and the voice actors are right. What's going to happen? You might even get these residuals for a little bit, but once these entities build the library of actors, in
Mm-hmm.
about it'll take maybe 5-10 years to have enough actors to just be able to populate whatever thing you need. They'll never have to hire voice actors again,
Yeah.
ever.
And you'll get residuals, but they'll end up being a pittance by comparison. And probably, within a decade, voice actors are going to have to be going back to the restaurant serving up drinks to make ends meet.
Well, no, they just won't have any jobs voice acting. There just won't be voice acting. Like,
No, but supposedly they're still going to get residuals though for their voice.
yeah, until they pass away, I don't think the residuals will be inherited by their family.
That's true. No, I'm sure they'll go back to
What'll happen is, I'm
the
sure.
guild.
So no, what my guess is that while the actor's alive, the deal is probably they get residuals, and then once the actor passes, there's probably a nominal fee that gets paid to the union to retain access to the library. And that's what the union's going to want. Then they get membership they can control forever that they don't have to pay any health care for. They don't have to pay, like, there's a lot of things that you need to understand. The union is, if the union controls the library of these AI actors, they can license it out and get paid and never actually have to provide benefits that a union is known for giving. It's the ultimate way to reduce your costs and increase your profit.
Yeah.
It's the same thing the studios want.
I've always said that modern unions operate in bad faith. They've done nothing to prove me wrong over the course of the last 2 decades. So, I mean, whether you be, AFL-CIO or any of that stuff. Did you see that psychiatrist lady said on Star Wars Theory stream about what's going on? Yeah, I did. Yeah, she did a great job. That Star Wars Theory interview was fantastic.
I have really dug
but
what he's been doing lately.
Yeah. Well, he gave up on even trying to negotiate with terrorists, and
he was the most even keeled.
Yeah.
I would say fair to a fault.
Mhm.
Star Wars fan. He let people on who liked everything, and then just like with everything else, the other side just would, like the Overton window had moved, where if you weren't 100% with us, you're against us. And they went after him, and I think it's made him feel like, you know what, if I'm gonna be in that camp anyway, I'm gonna start letting people know what I really genuinely feel about what's going on.
I think he
Good for
felt
him.
empowered because he found fast friends with people like us in the fellowship. And I think that his friendship with Jay just kind of, let more people find him. And they didn't agree. But what's cool is we're grown-ups,
Mhm.
so we can agree to disagree. And the other side with their soft brain, uh, smooth brain takes, um, their perspective, because they've had no life experience, is so shallow that they
Yeah,
just
they kind of
they,
lack the ability to act like adults, huh?
yeah. I mean, I've said this before, and it's something that gets me in trouble pretty often. That the current generation is permanently stuck at like a 8 or 9 year old position in their life, and that then they will be that way forever. They're
Yeah, they're stunted. Like they do not mature.
developmentally disabled would be the way I
Yeah.
would put it, because because of the helicopter parents and everything else from the school system on, has handed them things that they did not earn. They never experienced life where
Well,
they
and insulated them from being made to
failure.
feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Like even the bullying thing. Like I had bullies in school, and
yeah.
you know what? That's a good thing. Like
It is.
at the time I hated it, but I learned how to deal with people like that. I
What
learned
I
many
did?
different ways to handle those situations as they arise.
You know what I did to the bully that was always bothering me? The head bully, not whatever. In elementary school,
Rochambeau.
I kicked his ass.
Yeah.
He and his crew of guys were chasing me, so I literally was running around the school to avoid it, like I usually did. I ended up running up the wall and backflipping over the guy, like I saw in movies. I'm not kidding.
Nice.
and then put him in a headlock and didn't stop hitting his face until a teacher came out and separated us.
Your story is way cooler than how I dealt with one of my bullies.
Well, I mean, it was just I got tired of running, because the funny thing is both my dad and my stepdad, right? They both told me the same thing: just hit him, it'll stop. You know what? He's right, and you know what? I didn't even get in trouble. Expelled is the wrong word. I got suspended for 2 days, which was basically just to get it to the weekend so that both of us would cool off. But I destroyed that kid's face.
I went a different route in that I ended up taking a swing at him because he kept pushing me, and I missed because I swung as he pushed. So obviously my hand swung in front of his face instead of where it needed to be.
Oh,
And he got really pissed that I took a swing at him, and he's like, I'm gonna kick your ass after school. And I was like, at this point, I'm 16. I'm an equipment manager or a water boy on the football team, so we know each other, right? And after I checked all the pH levels and everything, I told him, okay, I mean, if you want to kick my ass, I'm parked in lower lot. I'll be at my car.
The fuck is that? You know what our water boy used to do?
Checking the pH levels on the water.
No, he went to the fucking hose, filled up the big orange fucking bucket, right, and put ice in it.
You're missing the movie reference here, Culture.
Oh,
I was referencing an Adam Sandler quote.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
But so he showed up after school to have his fight with me, and he brought one of his other friends on the football team who he didn't realize was also one of my friends. And he was like, "Are we going to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. I mean, you want to fight? Let's fight." And he's like, "Okay, well, you take the first punch." I'm like, "I'm not taking the first punch. I already took a swing at you. If you want to have this fight, we're going to have it right now. But I'm letting you know, I'm in that locker room with you guys. I know you've got a bad knee. And if you want to have this fight, you'll probably kick my ass, but you will never play football again." He didn't want to fight after that.
No.
And that's what I told him. I'm like, "You'll probably kick my ass, but I'm taking that knee. You'll never play football again." So then his buddy that he brought to, I guess, watch the fight, then went around and told everybody how he got punked the next morning when we were at school. And
that was helpful.
Yeah, he didn't want to mess with me anymore after that.
No, nobody does. And again, like I said, I had sage advice. I didn't get in trouble, and it never happened again. And for the rest of my life, the only fights I were in was because somebody else decided to take a swing. I'm not a guy to instigate things. I'll go there.
Whether it's fighting back or not backing down. The only thing you have to do to deal with a bully is convince them that it's not worth it. That's it. One way or another, if you can convince them that it's not worth it, they won't do it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, 90% of the time when you're an adult, somebody has had too much of something when they go to instigate something. And then you just remind them, well, I'm not going to jail. You will. And you need to decide, how am I going to pay for my kids' braces? How am I going to put a roof over people's heads? This is the problem. Most people don't have the ability in any form to step beyond the emotion or to step back from their emotion and look at things from a bigger picture. You make very poor decisions emotionally. This could get us into a sex versus sex conversation. We're not going to do that, but it could. I prefer not to engage from an emotional position. I actually have conversations on the phone with people that I deal with in my profession, where I say, this is not a business conversation. You're not using business language. You are being very emotional, and I'm willing to hang up right now and wait for you to calm down so we can speak rationally.
Yeah, we are professionals here. This needs to be a professional conversation.
Yeah.
If you can't keep it professional, we'll revisit this another time.
The other approach to take would be like this post from Mrs. Flu over here. If your woman grabs a knife while arguing, grab the mayonnaise. Her female instinct will kick in and make you a sandwich.
And I think that's brilliant. You know what? I will tell you, as somebody who knows both of these people personally and loves them to death, this actually happens. I mean, not the way
Drawing a knife on Tox. That's hilarious.
No. But I mean, she does throw meat at him. Anyway, look. At least she's making sure he gets fed. It might hit him in the face, but it's fine.
That is true. I know that.
I mean, if it hits him in the face, then it's on target. She's not only helpful but accurate.
And Emperor's right here. We are all pro-sex settled. Yeah. I guess that's a fair.
I think I'm 100% pro-sex.
Anything for a woman with a nice. James Bond and License to Kill. Yeah,
That's
Timothy
true.
Dalton underrated. His movies.
He just
don't
got
do bad timing. Just
okay.
Bad timing.
Okay. Well, he also didn't have. There's only one film that was good in his 3, right?
The Living Daylights.
There's only one.
He did 2. He only did 2.
Oh, 2. Excuse me. It was incredibly violent. One of my favorite villain
Living
actors.
Daylights, and then License to Kill. The License to Kill was Robert Davi as the drug dealer.
Davi is a free elf.
That's what he's
Davi,
amazing.
Davi.
Oh, well, that's not as fun.
You remember he was in the Goonies? He was one of the.
He was in a lot of things. Yeah. He was a great villain.
Oh, Slender, you might remember him from Die Hard. He was one of the agents, the FBI agents. No relation.
We're gonna need some more FBI guys.
Yeah, that was the. I went and saw that. They re-released that one over Christmas break into theaters, and it was fun to watch in a full-size movie theater.
It was great. I saw it. I'm old, so.
Oh, let's see what Tina's got to say. Nothing is better than your aimless boss telling you to get your hormones checked. If you have a good HR rep, you get a week off with pay to hopefully not sue.
That works.
I mean, that is definitely something that you can't get away with. I remember when I was managing one of the businesses I managed, and I had an older owner that I had to try to keep in check. And one of the questions he asked me was like, if so-and-so gets pregnant, can I fire her? And I was like, no.
What?
Whoa.
He's like, but she's not, because it was a medical setting and a pregnant person you're not allowed to be. Well, they also take x-rays and do a lot of things, so they can't be around that. And I was like, no, we will accommodate every reasonable request. And I mean every reasonable request that person makes. And if it's unreasonable, I'm going to assign them administrative work to do, because pregnant woman is the absolute most protected class of employee in the country.
I was going to say, that is a third rail you do not want to step on.
And then I told him, I was like, and I'm going to pretend we never had this conversation ever again. He's like, stop. And he's like, oh, but I was like, stop. Nope, you don't get to ask any more questions. And all the other executives were like, why are you talking? You can talk to him that way? I was like, yeah. And what's he going to do? Fire me? I run his whole business. He doesn't know how to do it. So we're fine. But it was just, that's the generation. He graduated, I think, medical school in the early 70s. And that's what he thought everything was always going to be like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, some people are dinosaurs, and you have to protect them from themselves. But no, like I said, I mean, I've been advised never to tell a woman to calm down. I do it almost every day.
I get in trouble, and it's something, but I can't stop myself from asking, because my wife will be having a grumpy day or something, and and I will say,
"Oh, you don't ask that question.
How long has it been since something?" And I started looking, and she's, "What are you asking?" I was like, "I'm just logistically asking, like."
Yeah, how many days removed are we from your bad mood?
Because we've got about one good week a month.
Oh wow!
Because there's pre, there's during, and then there's the post.
Wow, I hope she's not hearing you or ever watching this.
I mean, I tell her to her face, but yes.
Yeah, but you don't, dude. You just dressed it down in public, bro. You don't do that. You're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, no, Slender can tell you. She's not like Bride of Slender. She doesn't even care that I'm ever doing anything.
Yeah, well, you know what? Bride of Slender likes me, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, she's a fan. She's a good she's good people too. I do wish that Slender wasn't always demanding the sandwiches, but but then again, Bride of Slender makes them, so there you go.
I'll stop telling her to make them when she stops making them.
Interestingly enough, you guys, I came on and I got to eat. Did you guys see how she brought me food?
Yeah. Oh, here you go. Yes, I do. From Bride of Slender
She's great. What did Miss? What? No, I'm sorry. What did Tina say? I missed it because I was too busy looking at how
Tina
beautiful I
said
am.
that same boss told me that I shouldn't get as high a raise as my male counterpart because my husband was also in IT.
Oh shit! No, he did not.
That's shocking.
I hope that Tina was just starting to get like, if at that point HR should just be adding money into your salary each paycheck.
Yeah. You need to you need to be like, you understand, shit could get real now. It's just like, oh yeah, no.
If I was HR, I would be like, Miss Bojan,
Tina,
should we be structuring your settlement? How many years would you like this paid out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like I'd be like, look, Tina, I would still tell you to calm down.
It's good stuff. So you didn't go see? I figured you guys would have watched Beekeeper for comics divisions.
I couldn't fit it in. Too much going on for me. Thursday. Okay, so this is what people don't know, or maybe they do. For me, Thursday is my busiest day. I'm on no less than 4 streams, sometimes 5, and I have that tiny little window there. If I need to see a film just as it releases on a Thursday, I have just about 2.5 hours. That's it.
Because you do your your 6-minute daily.
Yep.
Then you go into
that Park Place Live, probably.
That Park Place Live.
And then I head over to Mr. H.
Then you do the Mr. H one, which I think you make the bumpers for him, right?
I do all that. Yeah, I do everything video wise.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, in fact, now I'm doing all the. Well, I'm working on it, but I by the end of next week, I will be doing all of the super chat clips, not the story clips, but all the super chat clips from the live stream, and then of course we have Comics Division at night. But sometimes I sneak into Tom's stream, Midnight's Edge After Dark. So I mean, literally, that can be the busiest day of my week, where I literally don't leave this chair. Other than to go to the bathroom and get food and to refill, my drinks. But
so I work from home and I haven't been as active in chats this week because we've been doing a government audit that I got voluntold to be a part of.
and end of year or beginning of year is always tough. There's a 2-month period where it's like real busy, December, January.
I think people who if you don't work in any kind of finance wing of a business, you don't understand how much pressure.
Yeah.
Because for me, for instance, because I do payroll, I have to do regular payroll, end of year annual bonus payroll, all the annual bonus pay, all the annual pay raises, and all this stuff gets compressed into basically a 2.5 week period.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I got voluntold that I was going to be trained and put on this audit team because I'm, I can pass the tests and get the certifications because I can do that. I'm like, okay, I've got this other stuff too. So, I've been able to remove all the holiday hours for New Year's Day because I've clocked so many extra ones. it's
boy, wow.
It's a fun little thing because they always tell you, oh, you'll be fine, we'll pick up the slack. And I was like, nobody else does the part of the job that I do.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of you guys know I'm trying to step away from doing what I do so that I can do this full time, which really wouldn't be much of a change, to be fair. I just wouldn't have to do meetings and things like that, which would be fine. It'd save me many, many hours a week, and I don't have to yell at anybody for doing dumb things. And
yeah, that's always the fun part, right?
Yeah. No. Look, I think you guys probably know this. I'm pretty even keeled, and I like people. I mean, people suck. Most people are dumb. But my audience and the people I get to hang out with, I think, are great, and I don't have to yell at them. Meetings do suck.
Meetings do suck. Have you ever looked at those demotivational posters that they made?
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. My favorite one was for meetings. It was none of us alone are as dumb as all of us together.
It's true. Well, so here's the problem. Sometimes people will call a meeting that's unnecessary, and you're there because, well, out of obligation for no other reason. But they'll call a meeting, and what really needed to happen was they needed to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody.
Mhm.
So you are destroying productivity, um, because you needed to have a one-on-one meeting with somebody who was just not doing something right, underperforming, not 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 holding up their end, whatever it is. And I always call that the stupid. Oh gosh, what? Oh shoot, what is my phrase? Just fell out of my. This don't get old. Don't get old. Regardless, the whole point is this is a this is an AB problem, and we don't need A to Z here, and that just happens too much. I don't know if you guys have those where it's just like we all know who this is for, we all know why we're here, and the only person that should be here isn't paying attention.
Yep. I
Anyway.
mean, I usually it is nice. I gravitated towards I used to manage whole operations. And when my career path changed, I decided to go in a more focused payroll finance part because I didn't want to have to deal with that stupidity anymore because people don't understand how trying to manage stupidity can just drain you like when you're in a management position. Now it goes the other direction. Sometimes managers are dumbasses and they don't manage people very well. But now in my current position, I generally just get the email when something like that goes wrong, where it's like, okay, this person's last day is going to be here. So okay, I've got that to take care of. But it's fun. I'm looking forward to this. I've gotten about one. I got to just finish my with the W-2s for 2023. Those will go out next week, and then I'll be able to calm down and maybe take a little bit of time off. Let's
Well,
see
I
what
hope
is
you get it, and I hope you enjoy
Arthur
it.
Arthur Anderson Accenture quote consulting. If you're not part of the solution, there's good money to be made in prolonging the problem. That was a
Yeah,
great
that's
demotivation too.
consulting 101 right there.
Culture, were you a fan of football, John Madden and
Of
that kind of
course, yeah,
thing?
yeah. I'm not mad though. I never bought it consecutive years because I knew it was a scam.
Well, I'm gonna share because Script Doctor is doing a new show
Okay.
where he's
Oh,
making
yeah,
yeah
I saw
so
this. Yeah,
yeah so he's got a bunch of us together and he gets scripts that are on like the blacklist, where Hollywood's in development on them.
yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he lets us read them, and then we're gonna have a rotation of co-hosts talk about the movie. I was not the co-host for designated for this one. That it was a script called Madden, and it's about John Madden and the development of the first Madden football game. But man, I read this script and I was just livid because they got everything about the football part wrong, like everything. It's like
Does
I
that
like
surprise you though?
no, I sent script like I sent him an email with just like here's links to all the different things because I want it's like I'm not just making this shit up. Here's all the factual things just wrong with the John Madden movie.
Well,
It's like
Lil Chad, first off, I feel I need to correct your use of terminology. It's not got it wrong, it's took creative liberties.
yeah, that's true. Inspired by a true story. So this was my favorite part, right? Culture. The script opens up with John Madden losing his last game in the NFL to Joe Montana. And so I had to send script a thing. I was like, Joe Montana wasn't drafted till the season after Madden retired.
Right.
And he wasn't the starter immediately. He was the starter about a season and a half in for the 49ers. So I was like, Joe Montana was closer to playing on the field with Rudy than he was
Yes.
They were just trying to link
against Sean
those
Miller.
two names because they know that people know those names.
Exactly.
But the greatest Montana story ever told was told by Madden.
Yeah, I mean, he told great stories. Did you know that Joe Montana was on the same team as Rudy from Notre Dame?
No, but I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
I
it's
still
funny.
don't.
I have to tell you that I cared about Joe Montana.
Joe Montana was a good. He's
Careful.
Joe Montana is one of my what I like. What I look at with Joe Montana, he's the best example of how short term a memory a generation can have. Joe Montana was the elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Won games in every capacity, put Kansas City on the map again after they had been irrelevant for years.
Yeah, after he moved on from the team that he will be remembered for, he went to Kansas City and made them memorable, which is bananas.
Yeah, he brought the Chiefs back to relevance, him and Schottenheimer. And
Schott never got the love that he deserved.
Which is why I'm thinking that the Chargers are going to go after Belichick, because it's exactly what they did the last time they were this far afield. Is that remember they brought in Schottenheimer to try to right the ship? Belichick is that kind of coach. But
you have to hand over everything to him. He is Parcells.
I know, and Parcells didn't win once he was the GM. Just saying. It might have been because he was in Dallas.
Or it was definitely because he was in Dallas.
I know. But
okay, by the way.
Yes.
You're Jerry Jones. You get rid of Jimmy Johnson, who has just built a team and kicked everybody's ass.
Twice. They won twice in a row too. So
yeah. They could have three-peated easily the next year. Nope. Jerry fucked it up.
Well, I mean, as a Giants fan, remember, in the same token, in 1993, Phil Simms was a Pro Bowl quarterback,
yep.
and he was still at the top of his game. And the Giants organization decided, "See you later, Phil. We don't want to have to pay you anything.
We're going
to go with Dave fucking Brown."
Jesus, he was too expensive.
He was, and that's how stupid. I mean, the Giants went from being in the playoffs and competing with those same Cowboys for the NFC East to being irrelevant.
Oh yeah, every year. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, honestly, who really should get credit for the Cowboys championships is the Minnesota Vikings, with that crazy trade for Herschel Walker. Man, that is a cursed franchise up in Minnesota.
Herschel Walker was one of the best players I'd ever seen play in real life.
Yeah, but you can't give up that much for
no,
one
you
guy.
can't. But he was. I mean, I could see somebody's over exuberance.
Yeah, the cry boys.
Yeah.
If Mad was here right now, he's this is going to speak Mad into being on the show because we're talking about the Cowboys.
You know what's funny? Have you noticed something? When I show up on the show, there is no Mad.
He forgets when our show is.
Sure.
Even though it's the same time every week. No, I'm not kidding. He asks us every time because he can't remember. I don't know. But I mean, I appreciate you coming on. This is great.
Oh no, I love hanging out with you guys. So yeah, that era of football had one of the weirdest situations ever, because the Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 straight years times and could not win.
Their best shot was against the Giants in 1990.
They had a shot every time. Yeah. Do you realize three of those 4 games?
Cowboys.
In 3 of those 4 games, they had the lead.
Do you remember when was it Leon Lett running down the sideline?
Yes.
And then Don Beebe came out. Oh wow, E-Clay, culture or Mad, either way we lose. I'm gonna have to disagree with that one.
E-Clay likes being mean to me.
I know. I like positivity in the chat.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. E-Clay, you can be mean in the chat. I'm not gonna do anything. Yeah. Let's see. Skins and Cowboys killed the Bills like 92 to 9. Yeah. The NFC East beat the Bills 4 straight years, which is crazy. It was the Giants, the Redskins.
Yes, Cowboys, the Skins. Cowboys. I remember that game. Oh, it was a good game.
Yep. And which was funny because the Giants and Redskins went back-to-back Super Bowl champs in 1986 and 87, and then it did again in 90 and 91.
Amazing, right? Amazing.
And that's because, and what's weird is the Redskins won their Super Bowls without ever really having an elite quarterback.
I don't know. I thought Williams is pretty good.
I swear to God, I'm just gonna start following a sport just to piss you off, Chad. What sport do you hate? Australian rules football.
I
We
love
can
that. I love Australian rules football.
we can get Grant Gregory in here, and we can
Yeah.
have a real conversation about
And
that.
bring Lethal in here.
Yeah,
They
there you
watch
go.
footy, so bring those guys in. I'll get Raging Rhino. You want me to bring? I get Rhino in here. I think we would crush it. Oh, I gotta pay Grant too. Shit, I gotta remember to do that. Dude,
Yeah, I
did
mean-
you see? Did you see that I actually had a couple videos that people liked almost a little bit? Was neat.
I know that you're on. I mean, I like always the videos you make. I actually set it so I get notifications. They come in real late, but I get them. It's YouTube has the stupidest notification system.
Yeah.
I don't know why I get notified. I actually hit the thing to get notified every time.
And yeah,
they
the
still
bell
send
thing
it out
sucks rocks.
They still send it out like 3 hours later.
So what I started doing, like every third or fourth thing, is I will make a community post because those go out more reliably than notifications do.
Let's see, Shadow. I miss talking smack about football. I used to be big into
Me
the
too.
NFL.
Me too, bro.
I mean, it's you know, I'll say this: hockey as a sport has been the one that's stood the line the best. Like there were some executives that started pushing some of those things, and the hockey players actually stood up and said, "Fuck off." We're not wearing these jerseys. We're not doing this shit. And then Gary Bettman, as the commissioner, was like, it's not worth the fight with my players. I'm not going to screw that up. We're canceling. You can still sell Pride jerseys at your team store if you want, but you're not putting them on the ice.
He was smart.
He was smart.
Yeah, because, I mean, all those guys will just go back to their home country and play hockey. You know, and then what's Canada going to do? They suck ass. And there's not really a lot of Americans that play in the NHL, even though it's an American league. What's that going to do? I love Ultimate Frisbee.
There you go. I don't know if there's an official league for that. But
actually, yeah, and Frisbee golf, too.
Goodell does just do stupid stuff. And you know what? The referees, they need to get professional
for an attorney, because Goodell's an attorney. For an attorney, he's a dumb fuck. Seriously.
Goodell reminds me of it's a real deep cut movie. It was called Mr. Destiny with Belushi, the lesser Belushi brother. And
there's nothing wrong with Jim. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's no John, but and it was great. But there was a character who was supposed to be the son-in-law of the company of the guy who owned the company. And he was just like the former jock meathead guy. And for the like Goodell has always reminded me of that guy where he's just like an idiot who got put into power through a confluence of knowing the right people and that has never actually been qualified. Goodell has done nothing to make the NFL better. Tagliabue did. Roselle did. I don't think Goodell he's made more money, but he hasn't made it better. And the Jaguars will be in London in the next few years. That is my prediction, my bold prediction.
Aravi, whatever the guy's name is, I forget his name. The owner of them, he's more than happy to move him.
Isn't it Khan?
Khan, that's right. Yeah, Ari Khan or Zari Khan or whatever his name is. Yeah, yeah. I fully expect them to be in London. I thought they would be in London already. So it's surprising me it's not already a done deal. Oh,
London, I was going to say London makes, as international cities go to move, it's not that crazy a flight.
No, it's the same as flying coast to coast. If you're going to fly from Florida to Washington,
yeah, and especially if you're playing mostly East Coast teams, if you put them in one of the Eastern conferences, it's actually probably the same kind of flight as going anywhere else on the East Coast. You're right. So
yeah, it's going to be it's going to be even easier because we're going to get back to doing, supersonic flight. And they're working on new kind of propulsion in planes. They're going
Is
to
that
start using
the Ramjet one?
no but even better for it is going to be the plasma propulsion coming up in the future to try to make air flight electric. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Goodell is the ultimate proof that it's not who you know, but what you know. And getting back to yes, Canine is an underrated movie. Makes me laugh.
That's Jim Belushi.
Yeah, that's Jim Belushi. He was also really good in Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which
Yeah,
is
fantastic.
a
You know
nice
what?
action
Here,
comedy.
and I'm going to tell you right now, another amazing film, Schwarzenegger film, True Lies, that had Tom Arnold in it. Tom Arnold was a good comedian and actor. He was great in a buddy cop thing. The guy never got a shot. I mean, he always, he always
He,
got pushed in the wrong places, is what happened in his life, including his marriage to Roseanne Barr.
yeah, they were a bad combination together.
Well, they were not good for each
Yeah,
other for sure.
no. But he was at
Roseanne
his
nowadays
best.
Roseanne nowadays is speaking so much truth. It's ridiculous. I was like, wow, girl, you
And
go.
what's interesting to me is that for people who didn't watch Roseanne in the 1980s,
I
they're
think
like
Roseanne got a
surprised.
bad rap.
No, what I was going to say is if you follow her, she was always blue collar working person,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and 100% those values are exactly where she would be today. Like there's a perfect alignment for thinking that way and thinking this way now, and people just don't want to acknowledge that regular blue collar people aren't happy with how these things they've been screwed over by the system since NAFTA. I mean, NAFTA was one of the greatest boondoggle wealth transfers to other countries that's ever been done on this planet. Because
Well, I
if you
mean,
want,
the working class has basically just become assets to be utilized by other people at this point. Like we we won't have human rights here in 2 decades.
well, I mean, that's what they would like. I mean, my
That's,
favorite.
that's what they're gonna get if people don't pull their heads out of their collective ass.
Yeah, biting my tongue. It's crazy because on the one hand they'll tell you that the reason manufacturing is in decline in the United States is because it's been replaced by automation and technology, but at the same time they'll also
And
tell you
slave
that
labor.
no, well that's the thing. They'll then in the same breath they'll also tell you that manufacturing moved over to Asia and Mexico and other countries because labor is so cheap there. I was like, well, do you need people to work in the factory or you don't? Because you told me that it left the US because of technology, but what you're really telling me was because it was cheap labor. That's what it really was. So forget cheap labor. And you know what? I would rather pay a person who works in the US $20 an hour working 20 $30 whatever in that range to work in a factory that can support their family because when they say like well would you like to pay $60,000 for a car, guess what, that is what a car costs now anyway, even though they're getting made in China and Mexico. They still I have not paid less for a car in my entire life ever. It's always gone up and they try to pretend for some reason that it should be going down. I know we're paying less money to the people making them overseas, but somehow the costs have quadrupled when I go to a dealership to look at what a car costs. It's all lies. They try to tell you it's because they won't. Never mind. I'm going to get on a rant about that, but so.
I mean, I agree with Shadow Chaser's comment there, who wants to hire in a country that is absolutely hostile to business. It's like business in general is the scapegoat for everything nowadays, isn't it? Like, oh, these evil corporations, fucking, Alexandria Ocasio, whatever the fuck her name is. Oh, I don't want Amazon coming here. Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
here's the
fuck your
thing.
people. They don't need those jobs. We'll take it.
Corporations aren't inherently evil. Monopolistic government intervention to protect corporations does create bad ones.
Well, we have lost any and all protections
I mean,
against crony capitalism, and that's exactly what we
I
have
know that
nowadays.
it's kind of in vogue to say that people that get into Atlas Shrugged when they're young and they can and don't and they're whatever. But what Atlas Shrugged really gets right, that is 100% true, is that once businesses reach a certain level, they are capable and do invest in government to protect their monopoly so that they don't have to face real competition.
Well, yeah,
Capitalism
like
as a
look at the
system.
net neutrality shit that was
Yeah.
going on a couple years ago. Why is it that Verizon and Google were the biggest players fighting in favor of net neutrality? Did that not raise your eyebrow a little? Like, why did they want net neutrality to be a thing that remains in place? What do they want to? Oh, it's so that no one else can get into the market. That makes sense.
Speaking of not letting other people into the market,
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought you guys would
still
enjoy this. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Why these people still have a friggin' hard on to keep Gina Carano out of places?
Well, it's fucking Canada. It's a bunch of pussies up there. I got to run, gentlemen, but I thought I'd leave you with that little chestnut. So,
But
Yeah.
I'll ask the obvious question before you go. Then, Culture, who doesn't have a hard on for Gina Carano, though? Right? Like, who doesn't?
well, I think Lil Chad was meaning it in a different definitional manner.
Oh,
but
I was thinking about something else.
Look, I'm leaning more into your position. Yeah.
I'd like to be
Culture
leaning
has
into her position.
Yeah.
She's, and from by all accounts, she's the nicest person.
I actually responded to this bullshit, by the way.
Did you?
I don't normally, comment on Canadian things, but
yep.
oh, look at that.
Oh, Valiant responded.
Yeah,
as
he
well.
did too. Yeah, he got there 5 minutes before I did. I'm like, yeah.
Canadians
I don't think
go from kind to cowards.
Yeah.
I remember. You remember? Were you old enough? Whatever. You're in. Did your parents tell you if you traveled internationally, if you were ever in a situation that was troublesome, just say you're Canadian, not American?
Yeah.
Because then that'll be okay. And I was like, I was in London. I was just going for spring break in 2003, right before the Iraq war started. And my mother was like, don't wear ball caps. They'll know you're American. And if they ask, just say you're Canadian. I was like, Mom, I'm not going to.
Romanus Civicis. If you were a Roman citizen, so great would the retribution be that you could walk around anywhere on the planet and not be afraid in any way. Because if you were a Roman citizen, the retribution was so remarkably devastating, they didn't want any of it. The United States was like that under very poor, weak leadership. It's not anymore.
Was it the famous quote, like when something happened and they woke Ronald Reagan up and some people had been killed or whatever? It was like, were any of them American?
Yeah.
And they said no, and he's like, okay, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah.
Because it'll be fine in the morning. And it's
and Donald Trump did something very similar when American nationals got killed in that terrorist attack. What did he do? He blew up the guy who organized the attack on a runway like that. Why is this a bad thing?
Well, and then you're telling the foreign government, you're like, you know what? I'm going to blow up your runway.
Mm-hmm.
When? Oh, about 4 seconds from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it's like, this is not going to happen
What you
again.
don't know is I already did.
Yeah. You might hear the sound now. So anyway, I got to go. Love you guys.
Thanks so much.
Have a great one. Thanks for having me in. I really appreciate it. I needed to eat and chat.
You are always welcome to jump in and join the chat. We love having you.
Great. Yeah, and I can almost guarantee that Mad won't be here.
I am guessing he fell asleep because he said he was probably going to be here, but then
he said I had black magic because when on one of our latest movies, What the Flick movies with Mad, he said something during the movie, and I made a joke about it. He's like, I'm going to edit that out, and I was like, no, you're not. You're going to think you're going to edit it out. You're going to take a gummy, and you're just going to fall asleep and forget. And then he goes into our chat and he's like, you have black magic powers, Lil Chad, because that's what happened.
Well, here's the funny thing is like, I must have been just not as funny as I know I was when I was at What the Flick. He kept like,
I don't know if he told you, but when you dropped out and then came back in, it corrupted a big chunk of your audio.
Oh, well, yeah. I think that's great. Fantastic.
But it did. But the part where you just broke at the end when we were asking for the movie ratings was in there. That was fantastic.
Yes, and I'm so glad that was in there. That was fantastic.
Well, I loved it.
It was
Oh,
awesome.
did you guys ever see that the bit that I created for Mr. H?
No, what did you do for Mr. H?
I created the Grace. You've seen the Grace bit, right?
Oh, the Grace one. Yeah.
We had the best one this week. If you didn't catch Thursday's show, it's like in the first 20 minutes. It's so good.
Yeah, he moves it to his live channel after he does
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah. It's up on the archive channel now, but that bit just killed me. I think I died. I think I died and got resurrected just because I was still laughing. Otherwise, I probably would have just stayed dead.
You're like one of the characters in Roger Rabbit. Was it? They're gonna die laughing,
And they start
then
floating away.
and their ghosts going up.
Yeah, it's so great. It was nuts because she said the stupidest thing I think I've ever seen, and she says a lot of like stupid things. Sometimes she says okay things.
One time I have to show you because when we're not like maybe when we have time. The greatest thing I've ever did was I've watched back to back like her Wonder Woman 1987 review. And then I immediately watched the video like a week later after it had bombed, where she backtracks and blames everything on Jeff Johns for making a terrible movie. But in her review, she said it was the greatest Wonder Woman movie that could ever be made. They really got Wonder Woman. They got her essence. She was like, it's defining to the character. And then after the backlash where nobody liked it, the next week she was like, Jeff Johns is an ass. They ruined Wonder Woman. It was a terrible decisions left and right. I was like, lady, I have, you can go and watch your other video like back to back, and it's a week apart.
Well, you remember when she said that the Super Mario Brothers would be out of theaters by Friday?
Yeah, that was such a joke.
I'm like, this is going to make the most money this year, but okay. A week later, she changed her tune.
She was like, well, I guess people will go see it. And I was like, yeah, I did. I took my son opening weekend, bitch.
Yeah,
And
she's not the brightest bulb.
And do you know, Culture? You know what my son wanted me to do right after? We wanted me to take him to the store because he wanted Mario pajamas.
Hey, so dude,
it worked. He wanted the merch.
You're raising him right.
He'll change his tune once the Legend of Zelda movie comes out.
You think it's going to be bad?
No, I think it's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. I was not as sold on the Mario movie. I mean, don't be wrong, successful, yes.
It's a good movie, Mario.
Yes. I didn't like the way they did Princess Peach though. I hated it.
I love you guys, but seriously, I gotta go.
Get you sucked in. I know.
I'm like, I'm 3 minutes past my exit strategy, so I gotta go.
I know. Go.
Yeah, dude, you just gotta leave when it's us, because we'll just keep going.
Bye.
All right, bye. Hey, I see Culture Casinos here.
Not anymore.
Oh, that's funny. But man, why do they hate like Gina Carano's just being a nice person? I know that they won't ever let it go. They have to get a win. They have to cancel her forever, but
they hate Gina Carano because she's better than them and they know it.
Yeah.
Like that's really what it is. It's why they're such a petty group of people in the first place. It's because they're terrible people and they know they're terrible people. And if you're terrible, you've got two options. One, put in a lot of hard work and become a better person, or two, try to take everyone else down a peg so that they'll be closer to your level.
All right, so I've gone to conventions, God, for I don't even want to say how many years. I've been to San Diego Comic-Con. I've been to New York Comic-Con. I've been to MegaCon in Florida before it was big. I've been to the one in DC, which is pretty popular. And they just bring, you bring in the actors because they were in pop culturally relevant movies. Never once have I cared about voir diring the actor about their political beliefs. Because if I'm going to meet somebody or say hello, it's because I liked them in a movie. When I went and saw Michael Rooker and said he was awesome in Tombstone.
Yeah, I'm not going to go talk to you and be like, so what are your feelings about the current political topic? I want to talk to you about the movie, the show. I want to talk to you about the stuff that I like you for.
Exactly. I've never and there's definitely been actors who have said things publicly that I disagree with politically, clearly.
Well,
And I
and
don't
that's
give a
the
shit
thing.
if I
Like,
want it. Like
here's what
I,
it is,
yeah.
right? Stop trying to find the things that you disagree with everyone about, and look for the common ground, because I guarantee you've got it. I guarantee we all have common ground, and we could probably have very productive and enjoyable discussions if we looked for that common ground a little more. But as long as you keep coming after people because you don't like their politics, I'm gonna keep shitting on you because
So,
it's
yeah.
fucking petty and pathetic. It really is.
Oh, what do we got Tina over here? Gina Carano is like Neil McDonough, Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo, good people who refuse to change their beliefs to fit into Hollywood. Kevin Sorbo's been a lot of those conventions. He's always the night like you if you go to the conventions a lot, you start hearing stories about who's nice and who's just give me money, take a picture, go away. Kevin
Yeah,
Sorbo, super nice guy. You know who else is apparently like really, really nice? Is
Chris
Carrie
Pratt.
Elways. Carrie Elways from Princess Bride. What's
Yeah.
interesting with because he has a unique setup. He actually has them put like a full screen like curtains around where he sits, and he doesn't do it because he doesn't want to be seen. He does it so that when people come up and they want to be genuine fans of like and tell him about Princess Bride, he's like he doesn't want them to feel like they're being watched when they're wanting to have a moment with him. I was like, that's super cool. Like he wants to, and he like because my wife went and did the meet and greet with him where she stood in line to say hello because she loves the Princess Bride, Dread Pirate Roberts, like
The
women.
Princess Bride is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely in the top 10 at least.
Yeah, and he was like super genuine, like talked like he talked. The reason his line is slow is because he doesn't just rush people out. He lets them talk for a few minutes. He's like he wants the people who take the time to come and meet him to do it. And I was
Hmm.
like, this is really surprising. Usually a guy in that position is more like, hey, give me like $10 and take a picture. Not like, hey, sit down and tell me about, your experience that you wanted to share with me so that so I can acknowledge you and help you feel great about it. It's like, that's cool. So he's really good. Um, who else was, I'll tell you, who played Dredd? Carl Urban. He was awesome. I met him and he like we had a whole conversation about I was like I was like they've got to make another Dread and he's like I'm on the phone every day telling people that. He's like it's not just because I want at the time he was doing that show Being Human so he had a job. He's like I it's not because I need work, I'm on this show. He's like but man I loved making Dread and it was awesome. So, what was hilarious about him, Slender, is on his table, where they have the pictures of different movies he had been in. I guess he actually he started when he was on Xena Warrior Princess. He was an actor on that show because he's from like New Zealand where they filmed it.
Okay.
And he actually put the picture of him from that show dressed like in that outfit. It was like most people would try to forget that initial thing that they did and just do like Dread or the Lord of the Rings movie where he got his real big break. And no, he's like, no, like some of the women like that, so I put it out there. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I didn't do it. It was fun. It got me started in acting. It's like, this guy's cool. He really
Yeah.
isn't like, he's not a schmuck about it at all. So,
Yeah,
um,
and that's the right attitude. Like these actors who think that they become bigger than what they are, and there's a lot of them nowadays. It's like, dude, you're just a fucking actor. Like, can we just maybe be that? And I don't need your political hot takes because I mean at the end of the day, it's not exactly like you're an expert in this.
hey, that makes me wonder if Gina's going to be at the one that's near us. Let's look at, because let's see. It looks like the big part of the lineup is the Star Wars. Oh, Hayden Christensen
Oof,
is already.
oof,
Well, Hayden
oof,
Christensen's, he's there for being Anakin. So,
ugh.
uh, see, where's the guest list part? Uh, guess. Can I filter this? Okay, filter to select, not the comic book people. No. Who do we have here? Oh, the Blue Ranger. Dean Norris is definitely a conservative actor. He was in I think some of the stuff with Gina Carano. So that's cool. He's there. There's a lot of anime voice actors. Rosario Dawson.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Tom
agree with
Welling.
E. Clay Thomason on that one. Most actors are some of the dumbest people you'll ever meet because they never had to actually, get smart. They just had everyone around them telling them how smart they were.
Oh, now there's the dude I would want to say hey to. I bet he would be cool to talk to. Tony Todd.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's he
Candyman.
been in? He looks super familiar. Yeah,
You know,
Candyman.
Candyman.
That's
He
right.
was Candyman.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of Star Trek stuff. Let's see if this has his. Let's see. He was in the remake of Night of the Living Dead, Platoon, Final Destination. He was the mortician.
I mean, he was basically the Candyman in Final Destination. Oh, he was in The Rock too. That's what I remember him from. He was one of
Oh,
the
that's right.
mercenaries.
Yeah, Tony Todd's awesome.
He was like, the day we decided to do this, we became mercenaries, and mercenaries get fucking paid.
Hey, by the way, this is what SpongeBob SquarePants looks like.
Oh, they'll give us the money. They'll give us the money if we fire some rockets up their asses.
I mean, this is I've seen. All right, so yeah, but Dean Norris here, you've seen him, and he's been a character actor in tons of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Terminator 2, Breaking Bad. So, yeah, so I mean, they're not letting putting a complete ban on conservative actors. I didn't see Kevin Sorbo's been there before, but this lineup looks like they're keeping it rather slim at the moment. So whatever. Either way, that was fun. We had a good show.
Yeah.
Culture
You
was
can
on.
try
That
and
was
wrap
good.
it up before I cut it off.
I'm just saying to the chat that it's been a great show. We're glad they were here. I see the clock ticking, and at any moment, I know you could have and you're probably doing it right now. I hear click.
No, you hear
No.
clicking because I'm trying to tame wolves.
Are you playing Ark?
I'm playing Ark, yeah. I've been playing Ark the whole time.
We gotta get. I feel like Mag forgot about setting up the server because even Shredder was complaining about him not doing it.
I don't think it'd be so much easier if you guys would just spend like the $15 and get it on Steam.
I'm probably about to do that just because I don't think Mad's ever gonna actually build the thing.
And the other thing about I think it's the Xbox version of the game. It's extremely limited by comparison. There's actually a bunch of different maps. Several of them are canon. You can play through a whole storyline.
Look at Tina.
It's a fun game. It's a hefty game. The code is kind of dirty, so there's a little bit of bugginess to it, but there's just a lot to do. I enjoy it, and it's one of those ones that you can kind of just mindlessly play, or you can get really engaged and do some of the more interesting stuff. But if you like Conan, there's really no reason you wouldn't like Ark.
I started playing like the intro level, and I saw a ton of crawl. I mean, it's one of those survival ones. It's gonna be on there. So Ark. Let's see. Eclay says spent too many hours in that game. Yeah.
Yeah, what am I up to? Let me check my Steam records because it'll actually tell you how many hours you've played. Yeah, I'm at 1,280 hours in this game.
Jesus,
it's a fun game.
Well, in case at any point Slender decides that he's not paying attention to Taming Wolves and decides to just cut the chat off, I did want to remind people that they can like the show, subscribe to the channel. We're here every Friday. We've actually had a nice bump in subs the last couple of weeks, which for us at least we've gained a few, which is more than we normally get. So thank you to all the people who have been subscribing to our channel. Hopefully you enjoy it. It's just a fun hangout. That's why we get people like Culture coming in here and just having a good time, because we never try to be too heavy on this show. It's just a light, relaxing, good time. So if you like that, subscribe to the channel.
We grab a handful of topics and then we might talk about them on the show. But really, what it boils down to is those are primers. And once the show starts, we're going to talk about whatever, whenever.
And I think we hit all our topics tonight, which was cool.
I think we did.
And then we had some extra ones because we got those couple from Culture coming on, that Gina Carano one and other ones. Yeah, RJ, it's been fun. Thanks for coming out. And we try to enjoy with have a good time with the chat too. So thank you guys for coming. And with that, good night, everybody.
With that, I feel like everybody's preempting that I'm going to end the stream